Okay, welcome back everyone. Mr. Allen here. So we're at the point now in the course where we're going to start doing some actual programming of our own. So you're going to be given a problem, you have to solve it and code it. So I sort of quick little diagram here. Programming is a combination of two things. It's solving the problem, knowing how to solve the problem, and knowing how to break the problem down into steps so that you can then code it. The first assignment is the pseudocode assignment. And the idea of pseudocode is pretty simple. Pseudocode is, as you see here, fake code. Pseudo means fake. This is fake code. So the idea is that the code written in pseudocode, or what is written in pseudocode, is basically just a series of instructions for the programmer to then implement on the computer. So the idea in this assignment is basically, when you get all the way down to the actual questions, I am giving you the solution. I'm telling you exactly what you have to do. So I've done the problem solving for you in these questions, and then you will have to code them. Eventually, you'll get a question like number 1 here, where it says you have to write the program to calculate the before tax sale price of an item given the price and the percentage off. That's it. That's all you'll get. And then you have to think through, well, what do I need? Well, I need to get the price first. I need to know what the price is, or I won't be able to find the discount on it. Oh, I need to know what the percentage discount is as well. I need to know the amount to take off, and so on and so forth. Or I need to calculate the amount to take off, and then calculate the sell price, and then display the information so that somebody using the program will actually know what the answer is. So basically, I won't go through this, but this sort of explains kind of the idea of pseudocode. And then some basic standard commands that I tend to use. We need to print something on the screen. We need to get information from the user. We need to establish a value for a variable, calculate something essentially. And then we have if statements with if, else. Basically, if is our first condition. We want to the first thing we're going to check. Else if is only going to be checked when the first condition does not occur. So if we kind of look at this off to the side, it says check to see if the age is greater than 70. If it is not, then consider the fact that it could be greater than 16. So numbers like 80 and so on will have been taken care of. We'll never get to this point here. Numbers like 56, we'll get into this section and we'll do whatever that part of the question or that part of the code suggests to do. Else handles all the cases that have not yet occurred. So you'll have one if statement. You can have multiple else ifs to handle the second case, the third case, and so on. And then else, if you need it, is there to handle every other case not specifically handled before. So if we just kind of look at one example sort of similar to what you're going to be doing, it kind of comes from those statements we just looked at. The question says determine how old, or determine whether someone is of legal driving age. So you have to figure out how old they are. That means you have to get their age. You have to check to see if their age is over 70. If it is, then you tell them they have to retake their driver's test this year. Otherwise, if the age is over 16, but obviously again, not over 70, it's sort of the next group. This one's been skipped, so we're only looking at values that did not end up greater than 70. It just says you are legally able to drive. If that's not the case, then it drops down to any other values greater than 0. So 1 to 5, 7, 8, 9, up to 15. These are all people that are too young to drive. And any number that did not fit into that sort of age category or into any of those age categories must have been a negative number or 0 specifically. And so then it just prints, that's a silly answer, go away. So this would be sort of what the question would look like. And then your solutions have two possibilities essentially. Now there's sort of combinations that you can use of both, but basically you're either going to use input boxes and message boxes, in which case the boxes just pop up on the screen and say something like, hey, please type in your age. And then based on what they've typed into the box, it gives them a message saying you do need to retake your license or you're of legal driving age and so on and so forth. The second possibility is essentially going to be the same thing, but in this case you're using a text box drawn on the screen. Okay, so input box is a command that you type right into the code and that just pops up. A text box is a box that you draw on your form and either it does or doesn't get filled in depending on whether the user chooses to fill it in, and then theoretically they'll click a button and the rest of this code will run. So the code will grab whatever's there, put it into the age, and so on. So a few really important things to know sort of going into the assignment. You have to dim every variable you ever use in your code. In this case, I'm saying I'm going to use something called age. I'm going to make it an integer. Integer means it does not allow for decimal values. So numbers like 1, 3, 27 are all valid. 16.2 just becomes 16. Other possibilities for dimming at this point: single will give you decimal values, and string is what we use if we're typing in something that's not a number. And those will appear in our Visual Basic Express notes. So just a reminder that this exists. I put a link to it in the assignment, but it's also available all the time on the e-learning site. The input section here, these are our options for getting information from the user. We can type in an input box, and the input box will always have the same form. Some variable equals input box, type in whatever the information is. The second option to use is use a text box on the screen, and similarly age equals, name equals, price equals. And you'll notice that my text boxes all have the exact same form. I've given them the name txt age, txt name, txt price, so that I always know what the name of my text boxes are. And of course, it's the text part of that. So it's .text that I need, or else age, name, and so on won't know what they're supposed to be grabbing from that box. Similarly with output, I can output to the screen into a label, and you'll see that I've done the same thing here. Label age equals, label price equals. Or I can just have a message box that pops up on the screen and allows the user to type information into it. These things have changed. I will fix them in the notes at some point in the near future. So essentially, that's what you're looking to do. You're basically going to have programs that look exactly like one of these. Dim whatever things are in our question, whatever information we have to get from the user, and whatever information we have to calculate. So in this first case, we have to get the price, so we'll have to dim a price. We have to get the discount percent, so we have to dim discount. We have to calculate the amount to come off, so we're going to dim amount off, and sale price as well. And in all four cases, because decimals are part of prices, we want to dim them as single. So pretty much the same as what's here. Dim age as integer. We're going to dim price as single. Dim amount off as single, and so on. And then basically we're going to use a message box or something to display on the screen, and then that will be the end of that. So hopefully that's enough to get you going. Obviously you are going to ask questions as you run into them, but sort of these examples are sort of new to the video, and hopefully will get you moving in the right direction.